So thank you, folks, for watching. My name is Graham Elwood. You're watching The Political Vigilante, and we're here with Lily from the podcast Talk Crypto to Me. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about was obviously every day it seems like there's new stuff unfolding with regard to the FTX scandal. The most recent thing, and I'm going to share this article with people real quick just so they can see what's happening, is... where is that? Sorry, that was here. Yes, this is what we want to share. I want to show everybody this article. So this is in the street. FTX collapse. Binance, largest crypto exchange, is now under investigation. The bankruptcy of the FTX cryptocurrency exchange is pushing regulators to increase their scrutiny of the crypto space. And currently they're being investigated by an agency within Singapore. So first of all, I wanted to ask you, obviously this has impacted the crypto market and possibly even traditional markets as well. How do you see this? Well, let me ask you that. Let me start with this question first. Let's go to the tough question first. So as it's becoming now, Binance is being investigated. Do you, as somebody that follows this space and seeing this all kind of unravel, and some other exchanges have had some problems, how bad do you think this is? I mean, are we going to find out there was way more corruption than is initially thought? I mean, how do you see this in terms of just
the hard, really tough thing that with the crypto industry is that it's not regulated, that it's decentralized, there hasn't been as much legislation, it's a new industry. I think people really forget that. Like, if you look back at the history of money, it's been around thousands of years. Things have gone wrong, we've learned from it, we've transitioned into new systems. Things always go wrong, and as humans, we have to adapt, we have to take that on board. And I think things like this happening, people feel so shocked. They look at the crypto industry and they panic and they think, oh, God, it's a scam. There's so many issues in the industry. And it's like, of course there's issues, because we haven't got a framework for the crypto world at the moment. We're still learning, we're still growing. So there's things like this, it's gonna happen. You know, things go wrong in every industry. If you look at Forex brokers, there's always that industry's been around for years, yet there's still always small little issues. People do things a bit wrong. People need to learn from them, and then we move on. And I think that's the stage that we're in at the moment, that, you know, it's tough being someone in the crypto industry, and being someone that loves talking about crypto. It's actually been quite a tough time, because, you know, you mentioned crypto at the moment and everyone's faces just go, oh God, like, oh no, this is not the time. Lily, be quiet. Like, we don't want to hear about crypto at the moment. So, you know, you're sort of treading on eggshells a little bit, but I think it's just, we don't want the industry to have too many issues. We want people to remain positive and realize that all these sort of new rules need to come in place. It's almost a good thing. It's pushed things to move a bit quicker, to mean that maybe the different jurisdictions will be forced to actually put rules in quicker than they were going to do before, because they've been taking their time, they've been plodding along. You know, places like the UK, which have the Bank of England, they don't want to adopt this very quickly. They're taking their time. We have a large banking system. So now they've sort of been forced that they've got to start making these changes. They've got to actually put rules in place to make sure that crypto is protected, make sure that people are protected. So, of course, I see the negatives, but there's always positives as well.
Yeah, so it is. I think I hear this echoed a lot, and I tend to agree as well, that there needs to be some type of regulation in this space for two reasons. One, just to avoid scams and problems and people losing their money, but also when you put the regulation in place, then it's going to make the regular consumer investor who's sitting there going, I was thinking about investing in crypto, but now it seems like a scam, because we all know that adoption, we're still in the very early stages of adoption, when we still have people that are like, I don't know, move it to a cold wallet. What does that mean? And I mean, I've been telling my audience that for 2 years, and I was like, this FTX thing as an example, why? and I had some on BlockFi, but I pulled it off in the summer, and I'm glad that I did. BlockFi got frozen. So I think, the regulation will make just average, want to put a couple $1,000s of their investments into crypto, which when everybody, obviously the big institutional money pouring in is what has driven the price up.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to why I think that also might be why Bitcoin hasn't dropped even further at this point. But obviously the big thing is we want all the institutional money to come in, and then we want just average people, average investors to come in. So I think the regulation can help in that regard. But where do you see this in terms of specifically Sam Bankman-Fried? Like, I don't even know if he's been arrested or detained, or, I mean, I hear all these agencies are trying to find him.
Yeah, you hear all of the rumors and you're sort of wondering what is going on. And I think, I mean, obviously it does fall on him. He is the founder of FTX. He is the person that's let some of these things potentially slide. Obviously, it's an overall systematic thing. There's obviously got to be flaws within the system that they created. They've definitely allowed things to happen which within anyone that's within the finance industry would be like, what are you doing? Why have you done this? But again, as I say, I think that's the important thing that you're saying. Like, it's all about decentralization. When you have an overarching person, as with any of these exchanges, you have to be aware that things can go wrong. And decentralization is the important thing of you taking control of your money. So having things like cold wallets are so important because it actually encourages decentralization. These sort of platforms and exchanges move away from that in a small way, and you are having this power within every single exchange. So yes, it should fall to him. Yes, he's got a lot to answer for, and it'll be exciting, really, in my opinion, to hear what he has to say, what changes he thinks needs to be made in the industry. I mean, whether or not he comes out and says anything, or he's just going to hide away and disappear and never going to be seen again, will be an interesting one. But yeah, I just think as an industry, we all have to, rally behind it and educate people, explain to people why things like this happen, why things go wrong. Like I was saying about the history of money, highlighting the fact that there's always issues in any industry, whether it be the banking industry, whether it be real estate. There's always scams, there's always problems, and you can't always just highlight one example as being the whole industry, because although with this news with Binance now having to have an investigation, but of course it was going to happen, you've got to investigate, because you need to check what's going on with all of the exchanges and make sure that everyone is operating in the best possible way.
Do you think that Sam Bankman-Fried, the more I look at this guy, I have a hard time, and then New York Times put that very softball piece out. I have a hard time believing that he was just this sort of like, oh, whoops, made a mistake. Golly gee, I'm this nerdy guy that made a mistake. It seems a little more calculated to me. What is your take on that?
I mean, in my opinion, I sort of believe that if you're the founder of any company, you definitely should know what's going on behind the scenes, and you should also realize that of small flaws, well, not even small flaws, huge flaws which are going on. If you're staking against your own coins and your own tokens are taking control of liquidity, I think for anyone in the industry, he's an intelligent guy. I mean, you can't really just sit there and say, oh, I didn't quite realize what we were up to in the background, oh, my staff are not really doing a good job. I mean, it falls on you. No matter what, you're the person that people come to and look to for owning the company. So you can't really ever put it in anyone else's hands. And maybe it will force now anyone that owns a business within crypto to really look at their operations, really not take any sort of backseat. I mean, if we're believing he has taken a backseat, then every single person that's in the crypto industry has to take responsibility for what they're creating, what they're putting to market, and making sure that there aren't as minimal flaws as possible. Like I say, there's always going to be examples of this sort of thing. There's always going to be ups and downs in any industry, but every single person that's involved in that should take responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, all of these other exchanges, BlockFi being one of them, that had exposure to FTX, you know, I hope it's a lesson for all them to just like, oh, this FTX, they seem like a hot company. Let's all just go into business with them and let them monitor or, you know, control some of our assets. And then, oh, gee, we didn't know what they were doing with our assets behind closed doors.
Due diligence is so important.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our like 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood and go to GrahamElwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.